Lovely gardening friends, how are you today? I'm Mark. I'm a biotech geek and your gardening freak. Today, I would like to answer to a very good question, and it concerns how on earth am I able to allow my lovely orchids to bloom like this? This is exactly what we want to do with our orchids. We want them to bloom like mad. And there are ways to do that, and those tricks have a scientific basis. So I will produce 3 videos, okay, 3 videos in a row that will each one explain one fundamental trick to allow your orchids to go bonkers and produce flowers by the load. So the first thing we have to do, the first thing we have to know is that, well, orchids are genetically programmed to bloom. Okay, it is written down to their genes. So they all want to do that in order to not just ensure the survival of the individual, but also to ensure the survival of the species itself. Okay, and they do that through an association with insects for pollination. And also they do that with an association with mushrooms, a specific type of mushroom, a microscopic mushroom that allows them to be well fed. So we will look at how it's possible to use 3 tricks that will bring your orchids to bloom something absolutely wonderful, just like in the wild. Just like in their natural habitat. So there are 2 prerequisites. Okay, the first prerequisite is the health of the plant, because in order to bloom, the orchid has to be in perfect health. It has to have those beautiful, big, shiny, deep green, I say deep green leaves with all those lovely green roots. And once this prerequisite condition is accomplished, then the orchid will bloom. So that's the first prerequisite. The other prerequisite is age. Well, yes, the orchids are just like the good cheese, or the good wine, or the good Jamaican rum. Yes, I mean this one is aged 8 years. It's aged in those big oak barrels there in Jamaica, and this is exactly the same with orchids. The older, the better. Well, I mean, this is quite normal for orchids to bloom more and more as they will advance in age. And it comes back to the first prerequisite. It has to be in good health. So, in these 3 videos, I will explain each one of the tricks that allow your orchid to bloom like cray-cray. So, now, the third trick that will encourage your orchids to bloom is to provide them with the right hormonal stimulation that will allow the formation and the differentiation of those little spikes. Because you see, at the base of each leaf, there is a little cluster of these stem cells that can differentiate into a root or into a flower spike. So, giving an organic nutrient to these cells is very important to stimulate them into producing a flower spike. But also, to complete this type of stimulation, you have to bring the soil conditioner. So this soil conditioner The Bioponics soil conditioner contains microorganisms that will not only help the orchid to feed itself from the organic liquid plant food that you give it regularly during the growing season, but also these microorganisms produce some precursors, some small molecules that will wake up those stem cells and help them differentiate into those flower spikes. And it has to do with the biosynthesis of a plant hormone called gibberellic acid. So the gibberellic acid, whose stimulation is enhanced by the Bioponics soil conditioner, will indeed help the differentiation of those cells into flower spikes. So there you have it. You have these 3 tricks that will allow your orchids to bloom something formidable, exactly like in their natural habitat. Because we have to understand and remember that orchids have elaborated a very sophisticated symbiosis with microorganisms for their health, their growth, their development, and their flowering process. So by respecting these 3 little tricks, the light, the Bioponics plant nutrient, and the Bioponics soil conditioner together will induce massive flowering of your orchids. And it works. And it has been proven black on white by experts in the culture of orchids in Singapore. So, hey, believe me, those experts over there know a thing or two about orchids. And when they provided the Bioponics combo to their orchids, well, they simply couldn't even recognize their own plants. They grew and they bloomed something wonderful. So there you have it. So thank you for sharing the Bioponics videos, because we do the promotion of the living soil. And that's exactly what you encourage all around the roots of your orchids by providing them with a good balance of Bioponics liquid plant nutrient and Bioponics soil conditioner. And you don't need a lot of it, only 2.5 ml per quart of water. That's half a teaspoon per quart of water every week during the growing season. And your orchids will love you for that, because you mimic exactly what happens in their natural habitat. You cannot go wrong when you use this type of strategy on your favorite plants. Okay, time to go. This was a pretty good video, but it explains those 3 fundamental tricks for allowing your orchids to be the most beautiful orchids in your neighborhood. And your plants will love you for that. So, thank you for sharing my videos. Keep taking good care of all your lovely indoor plants this winter. Orchids, vines, spider plants, and perhaps your banana tree like Valerie here. And in the meantime, have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.